That's how one musician described Spotify. Pretty harsh, right? Especially for a platform that promised to be this amazing future for music, a win-win for listeners and for artists. So, how on earth did we get from that dream to this?
All right, today we are digging deep into Spotify. For years, it really felt like the perfect app, didn't it? I mean, endless music, amazing discovery. It was a place where any artist could theoretically find their audience. But lately, you've probably felt it too. That feeling is kind of soured. We're going to find out why the platform now feels like it's broken for pretty much everyone involved. Let's get into it.
So let's kick things off from the perspective we all know best, ours, the paying customer. Because if you subscribe to Spotify, you've definitely noticed your bill has been creeping up.
I mean, check this out. In just 2 years, the price for a standard plan has jumped 20%. And it's not a one-off thing. The Duo, the Family, the student plans, they've all gone up too. Spotify has been super clear about this. Making more money is their #1 goal, and they basically told us to get used to price hikes.
It's a fair question to ask, right? If you're paying more, you should be getting more. But are you really? For a whole lot of people, the answer feels like a pretty firm no.
In fact, you could argue the experience is actually getting worse. The homepage is just this cluttered mess of podcasts and audiobooks now, pushing the actual music discovery off to the side. And basic stuff like that infamous shuffle button that never seems to actually shuffle, it's been broken for years. Instead of fixing things we actually want, we get AI playlists nobody asked for. So you're paying more for the same old product, just with a bigger dent in your wallet.
Okay, so if that extra subscription money isn't going towards making the app better for us, then surely it's going to the artists, right? I mean, that makes sense. Let's see how the folks actually making the music are doing in this new system.
And this is not a new problem. That quote you see, that's from Taylor Swift all the way back in 2014. And here we are, a decade later, and artists big and small are saying the exact same thing. They're literally protesting outside Spotify's offices, begging for fair pay. Some are asking for just 1 single cent per stream.
So what's the deal? Well, it all comes down to Spotify's super controversial payment system, called the Pro-Rata model. And here's the part that'll blow your mind. Your monthly subscription doesn't go to the artists you listen to. Nope, it all just gets thrown into one giant pot.
Let me break down how this giant pot works. Spotify takes all the money from every subscription, every ad, and pools it together. Then, they divide it based on which artists got the most streams on the entire platform. So, even if you spend a whole month listening to just one small indie band, the bulk of your subscription money still goes to the biggest pop stars on the planet. And even then, the money doesn't go to the artist. It goes to rights holders, like the major record labels.
And this really shows you just how strange Spotify's system is. If you look at a platform like YouTube, a creator gets paid based on how their specific videos do. It's not a perfect system, but at least it's straightforward. Spotify's model is designed to be confusing, and it's a system that just helps the already famous get even richer.
But the weird payment model is just the start of it. It actually gets even crazier. What if the so-called artists taking a slice of that pie aren't even real people?
Yep, you heard that right. Spotify has an internal strategy they call perfect fit content. They literally pay production companies to create tons of generic mood-based music. You know, the kind of stuff you find on chill study beats or relaxing piano playlists. They upload this stuff under hundreds of fake artist names for one simple reason. It costs them way, way less in royalties than paying a real musician.
So, how can you spot one of these ghost artists? Well, look for the telltale signs. They have no artist bio, no social media, no website. Their profile pic looks like a stock photo. And they'll have millions and millions of streams, but absolutely zero digital footprint anywhere else. These fake profiles are flooding the system, competing directly with real struggling musicians for a piece of that giant pot of money.
Okay, so let's recap. The users are paying more for a worse product. The artists are being massively underpaid and have to compete with fake music. To understand why this is all happening, we need to look at the final piece of this puzzle, Spotify, the company. And this, right here, is the key to everything. The guys who started Spotify weren't musicians. They were tech entrepreneurs who got rich in the world of online advertising. So from day one, their mindset was different. Music wasn't just art, it was content. It was the bait to get you onto the platform so they could build a massive ad-based business around you. And that thinking still drives every single decision they make.
Now that Spotify is a huge, publicly traded company, their main focus is pleasing Wall Street. And this number, 109, It represents the insane pressure they're under to do just that.
So what is 109? It's Spotify's price-to-earnings ratio. Now, you don't need to be a stock market expert, just know this. It's basically a measure of investor hype. And as you can see, Spotify's is through the roof compared to other tech giants. Wall Street has these wild, crazy expectations for Spotify's growth. And the only way the company can even try to live up to that number is to maximize profit no matter the cost. And that pressure means they have to squeeze everybody. They squeeze you, the user, with higher prices. They squeeze their own employees with thousands of layoffs. They squeeze artists with shady accounting tricks to pay them even less. And yeah, they squeeze your data, tracking your moods and activities to sell to advertisers.
And the result of all that squeezing is pretty stark. You get a system where the CEO can cash out hundreds of millions in stock and become a multi-billionaire, while the vast majority of artists, the very people who create the value of the entire platform, can't even make a living from their work.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the experience for the user, the reality for the artist, and the motives of the company, you start to get a really clear picture of the true cost of all this convenience.
But this story isn't over. Artists are starting to fight back. Hard. There's a growing labor movement pushing for change. And you have bands like Deerhoof who are pulling their entire music library off Spotify, not just because of the low pay, but in protest of the CEO's personal investments in an AI defense tech company. The conflict is definitely heating up.
So, it all brings us back to this question. That convenience we have, that feeling of having literally every song ever made right in our pocket, it's incredible. We all love it. But now that we've pulled back the curtain and seen how this system is actually built, we have to ask ourselves, what is the real cost of that perfect playlist?